With long-running franchises, there is always that one question that lingers on the minds of people who want to try them. Which game should I start with? Should I try the most recent entry? Or should I play the one with outdated mechanics that people online say I should play if I want to become a true fan? I don't think the latter should matter much, but there are important factors to consider. Is there any story continuity? How much am I missing? How accessible it is? I'm not saying it's not important to hear what other people have to say, but don't let them make you feel bad because you started with a modern entry. For example, I did that years ago with Monster Hunter World, and I don't regret it at all. Monster Hunter. A concept so simple that can be explained just by looking at the name. But of course I'm not just gonna leave you with that. What is the appeal of the franchise? What was the thing that attracted me to play it? If you've been following this channel for some time, you might recall me saying, many times, that my favorite part in any game are the boss battles. And that's what you do. You take on giant monsters over and over. Naturally, it's not as simple as that. But before we get to that, you might be wondering, is there a story to this game? A reason as to why you only hunt monsters? As a matter of fact, yes, there is. I can't tell you that there's a reason to that. But if we talk about the general story, I have no idea what it is. I can't bring myself to care about what's going on. It doesn't help at all that I can't stand your partner. Ha! Idiot! And I can't tell you much about the rest of the cast. But at the end of the day, I don't believe that's a big loss. You don't watch a Godzilla movie to see human interactions, you just want to see cool monsters fight. I don't know what's going on here, but I can tell you those monster battles are more than enough to keep me engaged. With a wide array of weapons to select from, Monster Hunter offers a lot other than just beating a giant iguana as hard as you can. Every weapon brings something different to the table. They can adapt to different circumstances and appeal to so many playstyles. Of course, some are better than others at taking down certain monsters, but technically speaking, there is no such thing as a wrong weapon. To explain what every single one of them does will take me so long, but I will also inform you wrong. Even with over 100 hours of gameplay, I still have no idea how to use over half of the options you're given. But that is not a bad thing. In fact, that's what adds so much to the value of the game. Say, if I ever decide to learn how to use a new weapon, that will give me so many extra hours to sink into. I can invest my time in learning something new, upgrade my equipment, and that will inevitably end up feeling rewarding. But at the same time, by doing that, I have opened new paths to travel. Because depending on what weapon you choose, fighting a monster can feel like a totally different experience. And that is the most ironic thing about Monster Hunter, because at its core, it embodies certain factors that can be deemed as repetitive. To build equipment in this game, you need specific materials given by certain monsters. That means you must defeat them so many times. How do we call that term? Grinding. Consider yourself lucky if 3 battles is the minimum you needed to complete a set. But that's where the irony I mentioned strikes in, because the areas, the mechanics, and the flow of battle prevents the game from burning you out fast. Is it 100% bulletproof? Absolutely not. But I respect the way in which this game does a great effort to prevent that from happening. Hunting is more than just fighting a monster. I mean, it's the main focus, yes, but it also involves exploration, item management, resource gathering, equipment maintenance, and of course, tracking the monster. But how you do that? It's up to you. Every area in the game is big, but they all offer something helpful in every step. Navigation is relatively simple and fast. The environments greatly differ between one another, and in no time you'll get very familiar with their surroundings. But the time will eventually come. The moment where you must face the focus, the real deal, the core essence of the game. The monsters. The game's strongest point is the ridiculous amount of bosses it has. They all come in different sizes and species. But the most surprising fact is how well done they are. Each and every single one of them have a noticeable degree of effort put into them. Thanks to how amazing the game looks, they are always highlighted no matter how intense the action may get. They all have distinguishable characteristics because unless we talk about their variations, no two monsters will ever feel the same. Something as simple as their roar helps to give an identity to even the most insignificant monster. They all have their own unique way to behave with their surroundings, and this also translates to battle flawlessly. Monster Hunter is an action game, but it lacks the speed and fluidity the genre is known for. Here the controls are clunkier, and all of your actions have a noticeable wind-up behind them. And that's the breaking point here. Because take in mind that what you get here is a game that never stops asking you to be careful on your approach, where going guns blazing will get you killed in no time, with a learning curve that will take some time to get used to. Some people may find that frustrating, but if you're willing to adapt and learn, then you'll be able to understand why this series is so popular. Because if there's one thing Monster Hunter is really good at, is in making the player feel rewarded with what they do. The greatest enjoyment you can get out of this is from overcoming the obstacles the game throws at you. If you're a newcomer like me, then you must be willing to learn the basic mechanics. If you want to try a new weapon, your reward will come from getting good with it. Knowing every area will make you gather resources faster and find great advantage points for combat. You can have the best armor you can possibly have, but in the end that won't matter at all if you don't know what you're fighting. Every monster is its own character, and the more you fight them, the more you'll understand them. You grow familiar with them. You get to know their moves and when they'll do them. You'll learn to dodge at the right moment so you can punish them for being reckless. Unexpected events may happen, but the hunter can quickly turn the tides by using their surroundings to their advantage. I won't pretend every monster is equally good, because even I have my handful of creatures I don't enjoy fighting. But every single one follows what I mentioned with no exception. That's boss design I respect. To learn and to adapt. If you refuse to do that, then don't go online to complain about what is truly your fault. And once you get the gist of all of this, it creates a seemingly endless loop. You hunt a few monsters, then you make new equipment. You take on new challenges and focus on getting better equipment. And you do that over and over and over. It's been like that ever since I started playing this game when it released, and I couldn't have it any other way. But of course, only a few people could stand to do that on their own for so many hours. But that's where another fundamental aspect of Monster Hunter comes into play. Playing with friends. To hunt monsters with up to 4 friends highlights how unique every hunter is based on their weapons and playstyle. Every player can take on any role they desire, adding more depth to the gameplay. The difficulty will adapt to not make it a cakewalk. But this in turn adds a bigger sense of teamwork, where more advanced players can help new ones, where working together helps to overcome the hardest challenges, and where there's a feeling that every player contributes something important to the game. Uno, dos... And hell, even if you don't have anyone to play with, the game gives you a criminally adorable partner to aid you. This is seriously one of the best AI companions I've ever seen. Palicos have so much to give, and they never stop being extremely useful. It's no wonder we like to refer to them as Palibros. At the end of the day, Monster Hunter World is a marvel of a game, both mechanically and visually. This game came out during Capcom's Redemption arc, and it wouldn't be an overstatement to say it contributed greatly to that. It's a well fleshed out experience that keeps giving more and more, but also ends up rewarding whoever plays it. Its Iceborne expansion was a wonderful incentive for me to go back. And also because this copy of Iceborne was a gift from my friend Nathan from Australia. Remember him? He appeared in my Yu-Gi-Oh! GX video.
Are you fucking serious, cunt? Get fucked, what the fuck are you on about?
He's such a nice guy. I still stand by that. He's such a nice guy. and this gift is evidence of that. One last thing. I'm fully aware of how vastly different World is from more classic Monster Hunter games. Of course I didn't talk about their differences because what little experience I had with the classic ones was... that's a story for another day. But I won't try to make them less because of that. I respect the legacy they left, which in turn ended up giving us this game. Newcomer or veteran, we all have something of joy to find here. A true hunting